Hey YouTube, it is league turnover, so Great League's on. Again, I'll quickly do that this afternoon, but Holiday Cup Little Edition. So we just had a Holiday Cup in the Great League, so Grass, Electric, Ice, Flying, and Ghost, and Normal. But now it is 500 CP. So we're just gonna jump straight into the rankings because there's some on the screen that are just normal for any sort of like limited meta or the 500 CP in particular, Little Cups, and then there are some on here that are new, and I've seen a rise, and I already kind of know how I'm going to tackle this. So let's just start with the fires. And so there's Litwick at 1, Litleo at 7, Shadow Marowak at 10, normal Litwick at 12, normal Marowak at 14, Shadow Lampent at 15, and Skeledirge at 20. There's a lot of fires, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, why is there so many fires? And I put in water. I did a quick search on PVPoke and put in water. And the only water Pokemon there are Ducklett. Lanturn is like ranked 90. And then there's like some water ice like Walrein and stuff. So you see Ducklett at number 6. So because there's not a lot of water, and because there's not a lot of ground in this meta, and because there is a lot of ice in this meta, as you see, like A9 Vulpix, Sandslash, Abomasnow. There's a lot of ice in this meta. Like, fire's looking pretty good. And I already off the bat, I'm like, okay, I gotta start thinking about how I'm gonna tackle fire. And it starts with Ducklett. So Ducklett's running Wing Attack, Brave Bird, Aerial Ace. I think with all the fires, you probably want to run Bubble Beam instead of Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is generally better for the mirror match, but you can just kind of go Brave Bird there. And then you got to keep the Brave Bird for the nuke, Wing Attack, and then Bubble Beam, ability to lower your opponent's attack, plus hit super effective against all these fires. I think is a good combo. So I may just do that. And then, yeah, I put in Lanturn on one of my teams. Lanturn's looking pretty decent in this meta. Obviously, there are some, you might want to go Water Gun, because there is some grass, but there's not a ton of grass. And then there's a lot of fire, plus there's some like rock types on here, Aurora and Amaura, as you're seeing on this list. So Water Gun, Lanturn is how you would deal with all these fires. Okay, so I've kind of talked about a lot of these. Let's just go down the list I'll talk about typing. So Amaura and Aurorus, both ice rock, and that rock is just very nice in a meta that has a ton of fires, right? So that rock kind of neutralizes the ice, your weakness, and you'll have super effective with a rock type move, plus rock for Ducklett, or you can use just a neutral powder snow for ice. Rock and ice, double weak to fighters. So watch out for it's not even on this list, but oh yeah, number 4. Of course it's on this list. Watch out for Vigoroth and double and all those that are in this meta. So now ice, I kind of went over the ice for a second. So A9 at 3, Vulpix at 5, Shadow Vulpix at 9, Abomasnow is an ice grass at 13, Sandslash at 17 and 19. So ice is good in this meta for a few reasons. One of the options is grass in this meta, so you already hit it well there. 2, you're just like neutral against Ducklett, and Ducklett should be, I know it's at number 6, it should be on a lot of teams. And there is there's some dragons in here too. I got a couple dragons, Terra and Dragonite on a couple teams. But like I mentioned in the previous Holiday Cup, there's like no steals in this meta, and having steel out of this makes not that there's no steals, but steel is not one of the typings, so you need to get into your secondary typing. Like a steel, like I know Skarmory is one of them, steel flyer, but it gets in because of its flying typing, not because of its steel typing. So to have that, your Charm A9, and then just your Powder Snows and Ice Punches here, just pretty nice coverage overall for this meta. And then there's some like Sandslash weak to fire, but you have Drill Run, so hopefully shields down there, you can Drill Run. And if you haven't played this meta before, just be aware that everything hurts. So any sort of neutral move, as long as it's not like on a very tanky Ducklett or something, any neutral move does 50%. Any Vigoroth Body Slams does 50%. Any Weather Ball, Ninetales does 50%. Like everything does 50% in neutral situations. And then it's super effective. It's just like you're almost guaranteeing a one shot. Everything is just very, very glassy because it's a 500 CP league, right? Vigoroth. So there's normal typings. Wiggly is obviously a Charmer, but it is half normal, and that's how it gets in. Vigoroth at 4, Eevee at 11. Why would you use Eevee? I don't know. I don't know why you'd use Eevee over Vigoroth, quite honestly, right? Maybe because Quick Attack won't be resisted by like Cottony and Ducklett, which are flyers and fairies. So maybe from that perspective. And you have like Skeledirge and Marowak, which are ghost. So there's that. But there are also like Amauras and Auroras and Litleos and other normal typings where you hit super effective with counter. So I've got to imagine that Vigoroth is probably where you want to go here as a normal typing. And if you're using Wiggly, you're not really using it for the normal typing. You're using it for the fairy. Ducklett, like I said, Ducklett's been like top ranked in these 500 CP metas since the dawn of time. Everyone's going to have one. Everyone's going to use it, cover it with electric or cover it with some rock here. And that's why if I'm running it with Bubble Beam to have something to throw, not only at the fires, but also to throw out these Amauras and Auroras, being able to hit them for at least neutral as opposed to just resisted everything. Anything having so Abomasnow is really interesting because I tried to put Abomasnow in this, in here, and it's just like, you lose to almost every single thing on this first page. So I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's like amazing shields down. Like that is how I could see you use Obama. But man, like fire, rock, charmer that has ice typing, so the powder snows are resisted. A fighter, a water flyer with wing attack, like more fires. Like it's just I don't know. I really don't know Abomasnow's role, quite honestly. I don't know what's role in this. Maybe like get like super effective on Cottony. Maybe shields down. You do okay against some of these other things like Amaura and Aurora. You hit super effective with Energy Ball. Like that's an option, but I don't know. Went over those. Went over the ice. Cottony. I speak about so Cottony and Ducklett have been OGs forever in this league. Cottony was just the OG Charmer in this league, but it looks like because it is a little cup with specific typings, you can use like Charm A9 or Wigglytuff as a Charmer. So you're not have to be set on Cottony, which takes a little while to get to the Seed Bombs, as opposed to like the Weather Ball on Ninetales and the Icy Wind, Disarming Voice on Wiggly. Then Skeledirge, we already talked about how Fire can be really good in this meta. So I started with Ducklett because if you this is with Aerial Ace, right? So even with Aerial Ace, again, you don't really need the Bubble Beam for the fire because you're going to resist a lot of the fire moves anyways, and you should beat them just from resisting that. But Amaura, as you see there, and Aurora are going to cause you problems, which is why running Bubble Beam might not be the worst case scenario. So something to consider, but just like so freaking strong. If you're going to be weak to Amaura and Aurora, I put in, it's interesting because you have two options here. I chose the grass coverage for these, and those are the main ones, and maybe even Ducklett. What's the mirror? And no, you lose that one. So Lurantis is an interesting one because it's super spammy. So it's grass, so you are weak to ice, and yeah, you're weak to ice. So Amaura and stuff like that are wins here, and they're wins because although you were taking super effective, you are so spammy and you have superpower. So you're just superpowering these things out, which is why you win. But look at a lot of weaknesses on the fire, which is why I kind of covered both those weaknesses. If you're going to use Lurantis, I covered Ducklett, obviously is just generally safe, and then Stunfisk as a direct answer, ground electric to both the fires and to have another answer for Ducklett. Because again, I don't care if Ducklett's ranked 6th. I think it's a lot of people are going to use it. And then I started with Amaura because I don't even remember this thing ever being in a little cup. So I wanted to test it. I wanted to see what it looks like, and it's like, okay, not surprisingly, you are double weak to counter. like fighters. So Vigoroth, and then Pika Libre with the flying press. So huge weaknesses there. You got to cover your fighter's weakness, aka Cottony, right? Just put in a fairy to deal with that. And then I put in Vigoroth too, which could be like double weak to fighter. There's not like a lot of pure fighters in this. So what you could do is you could run like an ABB Cottony lead, Vigoroth save swap, Amaura in the back if you want to avoid fighters overall, considering those are one of your like very, very few weaknesses. But again, just looking at the matchups here, like Amaura looks generally safe outside of like a fighter. Vigoroth is Vigoroth, right? Anytime there's a limited cup, Vigoroth is doing extremely well. And then Cottony as the charmer. I don't know if I'm sold on Cottony as the charmer. Like, I'm using it because it actually does have the fairy subtyping. But I guess so does, well, A Ninetales is neutral to fighter because it's also ice, but Weekly is also neutral because it is half normal. So I think out of anything, Cottony is the only one that actually resists, out of those three, actually resists fighting type moves. So that is to take it into consideration, but also take in consideration that you are weak to flying and ice. I start with Litleo because I'm like, okay, let me try one of these fires. I don't have a Shadow Litwick, but I do have a Litleo. So I put it in. The only problem with Litleo is, yes, you're a fire, but you're also a normal typing. So you add on that counter weakness. So you have to get everything weakness with the fire plus the counter weakness with the normal typing. So it's just like, it's kind of annoying. You can use, I think I have Skeledirge on here on another team. So you can use Skeledirge. You can use Shadow, I'm not Shadow, but like Marowak. Like there's other fires that you can use, but I put a fire. Has a lot of weaknesses. And then, sorry, non-legends, Pika Libre should be everywhere in this because it is a huge answer to Ducklett. It is generally very, very safe in neutral matchups, and it has the flying press for like just hitting super effective against normal types. So Pika Libre should be abused by legends, and I plan to use it for sure on one team. It is very glassy, but man, that thing hits so hard. Then I put in Altaria. Because I have a fire, like your main weakness is Altaria is going to be ice and fairy. So I kind of made this a balanced team, right? Leo will deal with all the ice and fairies. Altaria should deal with a lot of like some fighters primarily that Leo is going to have problems, plus some ground it should do okay against. And then Pika Libre just does like a general safe swap because Pika Libre should be very strong in this meta. So I started this team. This team is toxic. So I started with Shadow A9 Charmer, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if I can get away with a triple fast move damage team, because the thing with this, why triple fast move damage teams work a lot better in this meta. You have two ways to sort of play this, in my opinion. I guess you can do 3 different team builds, but the first one is all fast move damage team. Dragon Breath, Charm user, you can try and do like either a fighter or another Dragon Breath user, another Charm user, just make it like a pure fighter. You can do a very spammy team. So you use something like, because every charge move does like 50%. So if you have a super fast charging team, think generally Vigoroth, Ducklett. Again, I don't Pika Libre. Some of these like very like 5 fast moves to get to a charge move type things, like then you'll like just out spam your opponent. This one's kind of a mixture in between of like charge fast move and then charge move. So I don't know if it's gonna work. The thought process, maybe if you leave like lead Togedemaru or lead Dragonite, like I don't know if I want to lead Charmaine Ninetales. You might want to hide Charmaine 9 in the back and just lead Dragonite. But you have like fast move damage pressure in A9 and Dragonite, and then you have a super charge move pressure with Wild Charge that will one-shot like pretty much anything but ground in this with Togedemaru. So I don't know if it will work in practice. You might want to just switch it to like an all fast move damage team, but that's an option. So you look at this with Skeledirge, like why would you run Litleo over Skeledirge? I don't think you would, quite honestly. I think Skeledirge is just, I think it's been shown in multiple times, multiple scenarios how strong Skeledirge is overall. If you're going to have problems with rock, and you're gonna have problems with Ducklett. I put in a Pikachu, just non-Libre, just a normal Pikachu, which actually has access to Surf, right? So Surf will hit super effective against the rock, and your Electric will cover your Ducklett. So nice answers there. And then I put in a Wiggly in the back. So this is one where you're kind of like hiding a Wiggly in the back, doing some damage with Skeledirge and Pikachu, and then maybe trying to charm down your way. But you can actually just put in like any sort of third. I think Pikachu and Skeledirge actually make a very, very strong combo. And then it's just finding what third you want to use with it. I just used the fast move damage Pokemon, but you can use sort of whatever Pokemon you want there. And the last one, I went a little off the board. I went again, when I saw all those fires, I'm like, water. And it was Ducklett, and then it jumped to like Walrein, and then it went down to Lanturn. And I'm like, Lanturn's got to be strong in this, right? And look at that. Like, kills Ducklett. Has answers for these rocks. Beats the fire. Abomasnow, which I don't think there'll be a ton of because there's like a million answers for Abomasnow, is like your biggest problem. So I think that Lanturn is going to be, I don't know if it'll be sneaky because it's generally just everywhere anyways. But yeah, it's definitely an option. So I covered not the problem with Lanturn, but you're going to be generally weak. This is not your 1500 CP Lanturn, right? It's a 500 CP Lanturn. So you're a little glassier, but your main answer is going to be like grass. So I covered it with Marowak, which also seems like pretty safe. And then I put in a third for Gligar, just thinking like, could I actually just run like a team that I would actually be comfortable with running in open? And it's like kind of, and like Lanturn and Gligar are nowhere near the top 20. So it's just like, you can still maybe run, like they're glassier, but they still have decent bulk for 500 CP plus good charge moves, right? So it's like, yeah, you can maybe run that. Looking at just, so those are the 6 teams. Looking at like this list overall, it's tough for me to say what the meta is going to be. Is it going to be just very basic? Let me just pull up the top 20. Are we going to look at something very basic like we had back in the day with, again, any little cup? It's like Ducklett, Cottony, but you can replace Cottony with another fairy here. But now like you have some more fire, so maybe you see some of those. But it's different. It's different than you see in the past. Like Vigoroth, again, anytime Vigoroth on a limited cup is strong. Are we just gonna see those basics? Or are we gonna see people go off a little bit and try something new? There is a lot of new on this front page that people maybe have not had a chance to run in these past cups, because Holiday Cup Little Edition, if it was even on last time, it was a year ago. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see. I am actually going to bring my camera, like my setup here, to Hamilton so I can film at least a couple videos for like the Saturday, Sunday. I'll probably only do one video for each day, but like try and get one for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, just to like, because I think it'll be an interesting meta. Let me know in the comments below what you are going to use. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll do a quick Great League team this afternoon, and I'll see you guys in the next one.